Kevin, we're almost at the midpoint of the 2018 short session of the Indiana General Assembly. As you look at what has transpired so far, how would you rate it from a business agenda standpoint?
I think there are a number of important pieces of legislation that are of interest to the business community that are moving, and so overall we're very pleased. You know, there's a couple of things that we were interested in that look like they're not going to get hearings, but in particular the two workforce bills, House Bill 1001 and Senate Bill 50, reflect responsiveness by legislative leaders to address the issues and the needs of the business community with respect to workforce, trying to make sure that their programs are demand-driven and more responsive to the business community. And so we're very encouraged by that. Those bills still have a long way to go, and eventually the House and the Senate versions will be merged through negotiations that will also involve the governor's office.
Well, the governor has been very adamant in talking about workforce as a key agenda item for him, certainly the state chamber as well.
Yes.
As you look at progress and work toward a workforce bill and substantive changes in workforce, how confident are you that it'll happen?
I'm very confident it'll happen. There are a lot of good ideas that have been brought forth. There's some maybe not so good. The thing that they're hamstrung by is that there's no new money to put forth. They're pretty committed to not opening up the budget, and so that kind of ties the hands of the legislators. But I think they're being very creative and very demand responsive to the needs of employers to try to help them find the skilled workers that they need, so that we don't, our economic growth isn't retarded any more than it needs to be.
Another issue that has been talked about for some time now and has received a lot of pushback in various quarters is township government consolidation around the state. And as we were talking off camera a moment ago, that measure seems to be moving forward. How would you characterize that?
Some significant progress. I mean, from the chamber's view, I mean, we supported the prior efforts, and we believe that township is a unnecessary layer of local government, particularly in these small communities where the township government spends more on overhead than it does on actual benefits served. So House Bill 1005 would eliminate about 300 of the 1,000 townships, the very smallest ones, and require them to consolidate for better economies of scale and operating efficiency.
Smoking has become a big issue, and an issue in the business community. A smoking measure passed out of a House committee on Monday. I think 9-0 was the vote on that. First of all, why is smoking, Kevin, such a big issue today for business, for the Indiana Chamber, and others?
Well, one, we want to improve our health metrics. We're in the bottom third in smoking, obesity, and opioid use. Our smoking rate in Indiana is almost 50% higher than the national average. And unless you're in the business of selling tobacco products, smoking and tobacco is bad for business in Indiana. The IU School of Public Health estimates that smokers cost employers about $2.9 billion a year in additional health care costs, and another $3.2 billion, so a total of over $6 billion a year in absenteeism and lost productivity. The average smoker spends an additional 3 weeks off just from their smoke breaks, in addition to the vacation and other leave time. So that's real lost productivity. That's real money to the employers.
The measure would raise the minimum smoking, the legal smoking age from 18 to 21. Why is that important?
It's important because the vast majority of people who smoke throughout their lives start before age 21. It's also important because 18-year-olds are seniors in high school. They can legally purchase cigarettes now and bring them into the high school. If we raise the age to 21, that won't happen. So this helps close the pipeline. The other part of the introduced bill was to raise the cigarette tax by $1.50, which would increase the barrier of entry to young people starting to smoke. It was determined that that matter would be discussed next year in the long session, budget session, and we can understand that that's appropriate, but we hope that the legislature will join 5 other states that have recently raised the legal age of smoking to help reduce the number of young people that start and get hooked. Because, Gary, once you get hooked on cigarettes, it's hard to quit. The average smoker who has successfully quit has tried 8 times previously. So that tells you how hard it is.
Yeah, and to tie it back again to the business, to the economy of the state, there's a real business impact as well.
Absolutely, and that's that's $6 billion wasted on smoking-related activities that could be spent on wages, benefits, training, modernizing equipment, and other things to help our businesses stay competitive in the global economy.
Looking to the remainder of the session, any surprises or things to look out for?
Well, I think the things we've talked about, the other thing is Sunday alcohol sales is pretty clearly going to become law and go into effect. I think it's in July, July 1st, which happens to be a Sunday,
right.
as I heard. So that's moving. We have a good water resources bill. We're starting to plan for our future water resources, and we think that's important as well.